What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is your review for Marrying Millions, Season 2, Episode 6. So, we're going to start off with Bree and Bill, child. Bree and Bill. Now, Bree mad at Bill because of the whole dinner fiasco, and then at the end, he talking about something he don't even know if he ready to get married or not, and she is just in her feelings. And Bill was like, I tell you what, you know, when me and you are just by ourselves and it's just the two of us, we do fine. You remember last season he tried to get her to move to Florida. They was in Florida about 2 weeks, and then they had to come back to Dallas because she got to act a fool with her friends, her new friends, okay? He said, let's just go away for the weekend. He done packed a bag for her to surprise her so they could go away for the weekend to his house in Laguna. And it's a beautiful home. It's a beautiful house. They get to the house, honey. Come to find out, he done let his ex-wife stay at the house in Laguna with her new husband or new boyfriend. And Bree was like, I just can't get away from these heifers. I got the first ex-wife in Dallas giving me a hard time. Now I got the ghost of the second ex-wife staying in the guest house down to the beach house with her boyfriend. I mean, granted, she here with her boyfriend, so I know she ain't trying to get back with Bill. But it's like, what is going on? Why in the world do you feel the need to keep extending yourself to these people like this? Like, what is going on? And, you know, Bill was like, daggone it, you know. And Bree played it cool. She didn't act like she had an attitude. You know, she was like, listen, we trying to have a good weekend. I'm going to just leave it at that. She made a couple of little smart comments, but she kept it cute. She kept it cute, right? So then later on, they're going for a walk, going for a little hike. And, you know, Bree expresses herself again. She said, listen, I absolutely understand that you've been through a lot. You had a hard divorce, 2 hard divorces, and you went through a whole lot. But at the end of the day, what I'm disappointed in finding out is that marriage isn't necessarily on the table for you. And he was like, listen, we are working in that direction, but we're not there yet. He said, I've had 2 really, really hard marriages end. People that I thought I was going to be married to for the rest of my life, and it didn't work out. And that's been really, really hard for me. And it's something that I've just had to work through. He said, you know, once we start talking about marriage, then we got to talk about prenups, and we got to get into all of that. And I'm just not ready for everything that comes along with it. I'm just not ready for the fights, the argument, the anger. Like, and that's before we even get married. And he said, and at this point, we're just doing really well. We're in a good place. And that's just, I'm just scared to take that next step, to go to that next place, right? And Bree was like, I get it. I understand. I respect it. She was like, but I guess I just need to know that marriage is on the table at some point. And he was like, yeah, at some point. Now, Bree, I still don't feel like you walked away from that conversation feeling good, because I wouldn't have. Because he said at some point. At some point could be 10 years from now. This man already 60-something years old, Bree. You 22. Are you going to wait 10 years until he decide he ready to get married again? Which he will probably never do. Let's be clear. He ain't getting married. He is living his life La Vida Loca. He done had 2 marriages. The first marriage, he wasn't that rich, and it wasn't no thing. And she probably got a lot out of him because they ain't had no prenup, because he wasn't rich when they got married. The second marriage, probably had a prenup. They was good to go. This third one, he ain't trying to do it, Bree. And I believe he loves Bree. I absolutely believe he loves Bree. But Bree, girl. Now, he gonna give you a good life, but he ain't gonna give you no ring. Moving on. So then we have Rodney and Desiree. Listen. Either Desiree is crazy as hell, or this whole show is just playing in our faces, which I think it's a little bit of both. So Rodney went to go visit his mom to find out what his mom felt about, how his mom felt about the dinner. And basically his mother called him. His mother said, listen, we need to talk. And honestly, his mother said the same thing that I said. She was dressed inappropriately. She had an inappropriate conversation. Why are you paying her damn bills? How did y'all get there? Are you cool with the fact that she's dated wealthy men in the past? Like, do you feel like you just another one of her conquests? And for real, at the end of the day, I ain't really crazy about her. And if you asking me if I approve, my answer is no. And Rodney was just like, okay. All right. Okay. Like, that ain't what he wanted to hear, but I'm sure that's what he expected to hear. Because he knew how Desiree had acted at that damn dinner. She acted a fool. So he came home and, they got to talking. And he was honest with her and said, listen, I had a conversation with my mother. And, yeah, she was not impressed with you. Wasn't impressed with this whole situation. And, of course, she got upset. What do you mean she wasn't impressed? What are you talking about? What is the problem? And, basically, it boils down to... he told her everything his mother said. And some of her points were valid. She was like, well, you had time to tell me to go change clothes. Like, if you felt like my dress was inappropriate, you had every chance in the world to tell me you need to go change clothes because what you have on is inappropriate and my mama ain't going to be feeling it. But I also feel like you a grown-ass woman. You know what's appropriate to go meet somebody's parents and what's appropriate to wear on a hot day. That's like a dress you wear on Valentine's Day when you trying to put a little sex out there, a little bit of like that wasn't something. And he was like, well, my mother was a minister. Like, why you ain't dressed like you was going to church? And I feel like she'd have wore that to church. She didn't see nothing. She didn't see anything wrong with what she had on, which tells me that she dresses inappropriate all the time, Rodney, which is all the more reason. Well, when you picked her ass up at that airport, you was down at National Airport, you should have took her ass right on over there to Pentagon City, took her up in that Macy's down to the Pentagon City, and had her pick something out, okay? That's what you should have done. Before y'all even went back to the house, you should have said, baby, I want to take you shopping. And you should have took her ass right down there to that damn Macy's. It's 10 minutes from the mall, okay? Right down there to that damn Macy's. And you should have got her a dress with some shoes, throw in a little purse for good measure, and said, baby, we're going to meet my mama, and I want you to look good. And that's what you do. Make sure it's got a little label on it so she feel a little special. But you know who you dating. Child. And then she was like, well, your mother's phony, baby. Rodney was like, we're not going to use that word again. Well, and Desiree must have realized, she must have realized, okay, let me not push this too far, because, yeah, okay, he sound like he a little, okay, we're not going to push it too far. Because, baby, she was like, well, I mean, I felt like what she did was fake. But we're not going to call my mother fake. That's still my mother. And I respect her and I love her. And at the end of the day, if it come down between you and my mama, it's going to be my mama all day, every day. So let me put my DC on it. All day, every day. So what you may not want to do, Desiree, is continue to push that envelope. Okay? Okay. So, baby, that ain't looking good. That ain't looking good. That ain't looking good. So, then we have Danny and Dan. Is it Dan and Danny? So, baby, Danny said, listen, you don't want to give me a good raise while I sit here and I cook and clean for you and I live with you and I work for you and you don't want to give me a good raise, so I'm going to just go out here and go out on some job interviews. And she went on job interviews with other brokerage firms. And I'm not even mad about that. But, of course, when she told Dan about it, he was upset. And he was like, well, she normally doesn't keep secrets from me. I don't understand why she kept this from me. Why wouldn't she tell me about it? And I'm thinking to myself, but I feel like she sort of did. And even if, I don't feel like that's the kind of secret that's like, well, you kept a secret from me. I just feel like it was I'm not sure how this is going to go. I'm not quite sure how I feel about it yet. I'm going to stick my toes in the water and test it out and see how it is. So he was sort of in his feelings about it. So he went to go talk to, so then they had a conversation about kids and stuff. And he had told her that he's ready to have kids. And she was like, okay, but are you ready to get married? And he was like, we ain't got to be married to have kids. She was like, oh, but we do. And he was like, well, I mean, I don't understand why we got to get married. We doing good. We doing fine the way we are. Why do we have to get married? And she was like, because I said so. So he goes to have a conversation with his dad. And he said he has a really good relationship with his dad. He said in high school he went through a little rebellious phase. So his mom sent him to go live with his dad. And they kind of got really close. And he said his dad is like really one of his best friends. So they went to get their hair cut. And they're having a conversation. And his dad is asking him about it. He told her, he told his dad about her going out and getting a job or going out on job interviews. And he was like, okay. I mean, I didn't get the impression that his dad was too bothered by it, but kind of like, well, I mean, he said, listen, y'all work together, y'all live together. He said, that's a whole lot of together. Like, I don't think it's a bad thing that she's, wanting to go out and get another job so that y'all are together all day, every day. And I was like, I could see that. Then they brought up the kids thing, and he told his dad, like, that he was ready to have kids, but he wasn't ready to get married. And his father was like, what? His father was like, that's not That is not how that works, sir. Like, you can't be out here with this woman and you're not even trying to marry her, but you want to have kids. He was like, that's not how this works. And ultimately, what we find out is that he's afraid because he grew up with his parents being divorced. His mother's been divorced 3 times. His dad's been divorced twice, and so basically, marriages just don't work, and they're probably bad divorces too. And his thing is, he was like, yes, I want to start my family, but I ain't really in no rush to get married. So I definitely see that part of where he's coming from, and his dad told him, he said, listen, you're going to have to get past your fear, but it's not fair to expect her to want to get married. I mean, to want to have your kids, but not have the security of marriage. Like, no. So then, last but not least, we have Noni and Reese. That child, Noni wants to have dinner with Reese's mom. And Reese was like, listen, I don't think that's a good idea. And she was like, no, we need to talk because we need to clear some things up. And Reese was like, but I'm telling you, it's not going to work out the way you think it is. Like, it is not. He was like, I know my mama, and I understand why you want to talk to her, but I'm telling you, this is not going to work out the way you think it's going to work out. This is not going to happen the way you think it's going to happen. And she was like, listen, can you just set it up? Because I really want to meet and have a conversation with your mom. So he goes to his sisters and he's like, listen, Noni wants to meet up with mom, okay? But I need y'all there to have my back. Like, I need y'all to support me. I need y'all there to have my back. Y'all know how mom is, and y'all know this is probably not going to end well. And they were like, yeah, it's not. And he said, but she wants to do it, and I want to make her happy. So at least I can say we tried, even though if it don't work the way she wants it to work, we can say, I tried. So the sisters agreed to come, but the sisters even said the same thing, like, this ain't gonna end well. So they get to Noni's house, which of course is a beautiful home, and it's got a beautiful view of the Seattle skyline. And the sisters immediately are like, this is really nice, Noni. You have a really nice house. This is really beautiful. And the mama was like, y'all act like y'all ain't never seen the Seattle skyline before. And the daughters were like, can you, like, stop acting like it's not a nice house. Like, come on now. You cannot be happy about this situation, but stop acting like this ain't a nice house. It's a nice damn house. Now, here's where I'm confused, and y'all help me out on this one. I could have sworn that Noni said that she had spent a lot of time with the family. But when they had this dinner, it made it seem like they had never really met this woman or been around this woman. So I'm confused. Noni, have you spent time with the family or not? This light is, I don't know what is going on with my light, y'all. But have you spent time with the family or not? Like, I don't understand. It doesn't make sense to me, ma'am. But either way, honey, it was nasty. They got to talking about the kids and stuff. And the mother was like, well, I just think that's very selfish that you wouldn't want to have kids and deprive him of that because he wants children. And Reese was like, but I don't. And she said, that's not true. Before you started dating her, you told me you wanted kids. And he was like, okay, but I don't now. And she was like, well, I just think that's very selfish. So even after Noni shared her medical situation, even though she don't have to, but she told them, like, listen, I would love to have his child, but I physically cannot. I had this illness, da-da-da-da-da, boo-da-boo-da-boo. Physically, I can't have no kids. Child, you would think the mother would be like, well, I understand, but as a mom, child, she didn't care. She was just like, but whatever, I don't care. Then you need to find somebody that can give you kids. I said, damn. And then Noni tried to interrupt, and she said, I'm not talking to you. I am talking to my son. I said, see, that's the difference between me and Noni, because that would have been the last thing she said to me in my house. No, ma'am. I said, I'd have been like, okay, well, I tell you what, you can finish this conversation in the driveway with your son. Both of y'all can get the hell out. Reese, you come back when you're done talking to your mama. What you not gonna do is disrespect me in my home. Now, you ain't gotta like me, and that's cool. You don't have to like me for your son, but at the end of the day, you're not gonna disrespect me. And even the sisters sort of jumped in, which at one point I thought the sisters were kind of on their dad's side, on their brother's side, but even the sisters sort of jumped in a little bit. And finally, they were just like, well, I just think that that you're just that he's just your little plaything. And she was like, but what am I getting out of it? She was like, when I met your brother, he was living in his car. And they were like, oh, that's cold. That was low. You didn't have to say that. She was like, I'm just speaking facts. She was like, so what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to give up my nice house and go move in the skater house with him and his 5 roommates to make y'all feel better? No. Like, I've accomplished certain things. I live a certain lifestyle. And he reaps the benefit of all of that. Like, I'm giving him, like, yes, I may not be able to give him kids, but I'm giving him a good life. Now, what I found interesting was when of course, they responded. They didn't appreciate her saying that, which I see their point on her kind of saying that or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's the truth. Like, listen, if y'all was so concerned about your brother, he was living in his car. Not one of y'all's couches, his car when they met. She got him out the car. Now, mind you, he don't even live with her. He's got his own place. So it's not like she got him, shacked up with him being his little boy toy. Anyway, well, her being his toy. Y'all know what I'm saying. Anyway, y'all, that's what it was. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in them comments. Peace.